Here, by the way, talking points were leaked to Ken Leakenstein. The show U.S. diplomats instructed to call accusations of Israeli genocide a politically motivated and categorically false propaganda campaign. This is an action request. The department instructs USUN to draw from the talking points in paragraph 2 for the September 23rd, 2025 UN Security Council open briefing on the Middle East. It is deeply regrettable that council members opted to convene this high-level UNSC briefing on Gaza on Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, knowing full well that the decision excludes Israel. Ugh. Everything is anti-Semitism, dude. It is a statement to how this council has prioritized performative grandstanding over serious efforts to advance peace. Yeah, you're deeply unserious. You're deeply unserious. You are actually getting in the way of a peace deal that was imminent, that is always destroyed by Hamas, of course. Except it's not. It's literally fucking always Israel. The main outcome has been to embolden Hamas and to undermine and disrupt negotiations aimed at freeing all the hostages and ending the war, which, again, I think we all know there is no interest from the Israeli side in actually securing the hostages whatsoever. In the last 2 weeks alone, Israel suffered 2 terrorist attacks in Jerusalem on September 8th and the Allenby border crossing on September 18th. We condemn these attacks, offer condolences to the families of those killed, and call upon other countries to join us in clear, explicit condemnation of this violence by Hamas and its ideological allies. Poor Israel, man. Extremists like the terrorists who killed 2 IDF soldiers on September 18th have shown their utter contempt for the people of Gaza by striking the very border crossing through which 45% of aid delivered to Gaza between May and September this year has passed. No country would willingly allow terrorists to threaten its people, and Israel is no different. Israel has the right to defend itself from groups that wish to do harm. You cannot do a genocide in an act of self-defense. Fucking bullshit. As Secretary Rubio said, as long as Hamas exists, there will never be peace in the Middle East. Every member here has seen evidence of how Hamas has starved hostages and heard the testimony of freed hostages on what they endured in captivity. Oh, some endure still, and we again demand Hamas immediately release all 48 remaining hostages, cease putting civilians in harm's way, disarm and surrender. This war could end if that happened. Once again, Hamas has brought forward all of those talking points in negotiations. Israel is the one that says, nope, we're not going to do that because we want to continue doing our ethnic cleansing and ethnic displacement campaign. It does not fucking matter. But Hamas refuses while Israel has accepted negotiators' proposals. That's fucking bullshit. It's not real at all. Rewarding Hamas's refusal, whether with performative conferences or one-sided Security Council resolutions, undermines and delays achieving peace. It feels like I'm going insane when I have to listen to like official organs of justice and government officials just play along with this song and dance that it is always Hamas that's ruining the deals. But because Islamophobia is so pervasive and so powerful a force that it kind of doesn't matter, because most people are still, even if they're anti-Israel, they still find themselves engaging with this narrative. Like the "but Hamas" dispersal cloud is so goddamn successful. But Hamas refuses. Yesterday's conference was an ill-conceived publicity stunt. It will prolong the war in Gaza. Oh my God, it will prolong the war in Gaza. That's definitely not something that Israel wants, for sure. Embolden Hamas, rewards obstruction, undermine efforts to achieve peace both in the short and long term. Unilateral recognition statements don't alter the reality. There is no Palestinian state. It is also clear there is no credible Palestinian partner for peace at this time. The Palestinian Authority leaders from Ramallah are absent from New York this week because they failed to meet their own Oslo commitments. No, it's because Donald Trump banned them from entering the country. And those guys are a part of the fucking Israeli security apparatus, by the way. They're not even favored by the Palestinian population. They are the second least popular entity in the region in the eyes of the Palestinians. Anyone who knows anything about Palestinian approval ratings knows that Israel is the number one enemy, and the Palestinian Authority is seen as the second least popular entity in the region because it plays a formative role in the Israeli security apparatus in the West Bank. It literally will kidnap and coordinate efforts to squash any sort of militancy in the West Bank that is engaging in a legal and moral right to resistance of occupied peoples. The commitments were basic, including renouncing terrorism and state violence and resolving issues through direct negotiations. The PA even failed to clear those low bars. The PA attempts to bypass negotiations through its lawfare, including at the ICC and ICJ, and it pushes for unilateral recognition of statehood. This diplomatic change is disappointing. Charade is disappointing. It is clearly fueled by domestic politics and has given Hamas a reward for refusing to surrender, as well as an incentive to keep holding hostages in subhuman conditions. We call on the council members of the UN to change course and focus instead on how to eliminate Hamas, free the hostages, and create a framework so Gaza can have a better future than the life they have endured under terrorists. Oh my God, just so many fucking talking points, okay? If needed, allegations of genocide. These accusations are politically motivated and categorically false. They are a part of the deliberate, cynical propaganda campaign as Hamas attempts to win symbolic victories to compensate for total defeat in war. The United States refused those allegations entirely. The United States fully supports Israel's right to defend itself against Hamas's terrorism. Israel's taken an unprecedented... Dude, good luck convincing any remaining American that is even remotely aware of what the fuck's going on here that, like, Israel doesn't control the country. Okay? Like, remember, these are U.S. diplomats being ordered to speak this way. This is line for line Israeli talking points. Okay? Like, this is crazy. The demands being made over and over again is that you are just a shill for Israel. You have to be, unconditionally, a shill for Israel. And yes, it is identical to what the fucking bullshit Biden was saying, too. Biden trashed the ICC, rejected the application for arrest warrants for Netanyahu and Gallant, trashed the ICJ, and said there was no genocide. That's his legacy.
Let me be clear. We reject the ICC's application for arrest warrants against Israeli leaders. Whatever these warrants may imply, there is no equivalence between Israel and Hamas. And it's clear Israel wants to do all it can to ensure civilian protection. But let me be clear. Contrary to allegations against Israel made by the International Court of Justice, what's happening is not genocide. We reject that. We're going to always stand with Israel and the threats against its security.
It's just like, it's so fucking embarrassing to see so many goddamn Americans genuflect this way as well when the population is obviously way more aware of what is going on, in spite of the horrible ways they think of, like, Muslims as a whole or whatever, or how fearful they are. And the only way out of this is by just increasing the intensity of the Islamophobia. It's going to get so much worse, I think, for Muslims in this country. I'm seeing it already. There's no other way out of it. You have to make it seem as though Israel is fighting this just war against pure evil. Islam is the pure evil that is destroying the Western world. It's already happening in a lot of European capitals. They're just going to keep pushing it. They're going to push it way past the point of, like, 2001, post 2001, post 9/11 Islamophobia narratives. So is rapture like happy hour? I mean, fuck the rapture, dude. I just don't know. I don't know how you clear that up. I don't know how you get, like, the average American to understand that, like, Muslims are just like you know, regular ass people, and they're not like a monolithic force of evil that's trying to destroy the Western world. They're just trying to live their goddamn lives. Why only 6K viewers, lol? Don't mean it offensively. I've fallen off, dude. Nobody wants to watch me.
The pride of being able to be here and do work that facilitates making things better for people, and in the greatest country on earth, next to Israel. It is...
Hey, look. This is once again, Trump's State Department spokesperson said Israel's the greatest country on earth.
The pride of being able to be here and do work that facilitates making things better for people, and in the greatest country on earth, next to Israel. It is, and it's an honor to be able to make a difference and to be able to speak in this regard with an administration that I love so much, and that I feel genuinely represents.
Whenever I hear an American official talk, it feels like there is an Israeli hand shoved so far up their asshole that they're basically moving the American official's mouth. That's what it feels like to me. And it gets even, the more evangelical they are, the worse this narrative is, the more insane it is. Like fucking Mike Huckabee. They just deep throat it so fucking hard. Here, look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
This is a nation that is the most resilient I've ever seen.
This is Mike Huckabee talking to Israelis in Israel at the 50 States One Israel conference. that took place last week, where Israel brought 250 American state officials from each individual state in the United States of America to Israel. Okay? Here's what he had to say.
This is a nation that is the most resilient I've ever seen on earth. It may sound a little bit this afternoon as if I'm almost speaking on behalf of Israel rather than the U.S., but I want to explain that part of my advocacy in our relationship is because if you came to my house tonight for dinner and you came in and you said, "Oh, Mike, we like you. We really think the world of you. We just enjoy being with you. We're so excited to be here with you and have dinner with you. But your wife, we can't stand her. We don't like her a bit. I hope she's not going to be at the table." I would say, well, she will be. You won't be. Get out. Because
He's saying Israel is my wife, except in this circumstance, your wife killed like 500,000 people and also fucks you with a strap on.
if you were to insult my partner,
Oh, these guys, man. These guys is so fucking nutty. It's so crazy. Macron says, I see an American president who says, I want the Nobel Peace Prize. The Nobel Peace Prize is only possible if you stop the conflict in Gaza. Yeah. After 2 years of strategic failures, Macron, in that 1P meeting that we just saw earlier, said nobody forgets the 7th of October. And by the way, we lost a lot of French people in these attacks. But after 2 years of war, what is the result? You have as many Hamas fighters as you had the first day, so it doesn't work. Which, again, the reason why this is bad is not because Israel has fucking slaughtered so many people in the interest of like defeating Hamas or whatever. The reason why it's bad is because they're slaughtering people, okay? Trying to hit this from a fucking tactical misstep angle is so idiotic to me. Because it betrays reality, okay? It betrays the real reason why Israel is doing this. It has never been for some sort of military decision. It has always been for genocidal purpose. Their goals have been clear from day one. And in spite of the legal hurdles and the sanctions threats, the ICC and the ICJ were committed to addressing that reality. Do you think the part of the reason why the right is pushing so hard to support Israel is because of how it's said it makes people so they find it annoying and detestable? No. The reason why they do it is because they're fucking stupid. The reason why they do it is because they also believe the narrative that like Israel is committed to defeating the evils of Islam. The reason why they do it is because they've always done it. They've always supported the wholesale slaughter of Muslims. Also, Trump is a massive dick rider of Israel, and they like whatever Trump likes. And daddy loves Israel, so they're going to love Israel too. Don't you think Americans just don't care about foreign affairs? Israel is not a foreign affair. While that is true, Americans have been purposely kept blinded by the impact of American imperialism because if they were to think about it, they would go probably crazy. But all foreign affairs still pertain to domestic incidents. They still have an impact. Every dollar spent on a rocket, whether it's being used by the Israeli government or whoever, is a dollar that could be spent here. Is a dollar that could be spent on bricks to lay bricks to build houses. A dollar that could be spent to fucking pour asphalt. Is a dollar that could be spent to educate children here, to feed the needy, to feed the hungry. But even outside of that, with respect to Israel, Israel also has an unimaginable amount of control and influence over your day-to-day affairs. There is no other country that gets to dictate and erode this incredibly important free speech, the First Amendment in the Constitution, in the same exact way. Israel dictates what happens in your lives in very meaningful ways. Think about it this way. You like TikTok? Okay, TikTok's algorithm is going to change now. Why? Because it was controlled by the Chinese state and therefore was not actually at the mercy of whatever the American State Department's interests are. And obviously this was a dangerous prospect for Israel. So now they took TikTok. Something as stupid as like your day-to-day activities on a social media platform is still at the mercy of a foreign nation state. And it will extend beyond other questions that you have, reasonable questions that you have, like Jeffrey Epstein. What was Donald Trump's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein? Ask that question too many fucking times, and maybe you're going to get banned. You might think in the short term that these are not concerns for you, right? Who cares? I just won't ask questions about Jeffrey Epstein. Who cares? I won't say shit about Israel. I don't give a shit. But eventually it will come for something that you do care about. And at that point, you will have no allies that remain. You understand? It was the one area where people could organize. It was the one area where people could at least like get a crumb of truth. And now social media is also completely captured by the same interests. Yeah. In a year, you'll only be able to talk about Palestine via carrier pigeon or putting a rolled up message in a bottle.
Board of Directors.
The TikTok algorithm is now secured.
The official deal later this week at some point. Under the terms of this deal, TikTok will be owned by a majority of...
You mean like Twitter/Facebook was before? Yes, I do. Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah. Do you like that? Did you like that? Do you think this is an own against me, dumbass? Why do conservatives come in here and act as though someone can't have any sort of fucking consistency in the process? I've been anti-Israel for fucking decades, dumbass. Do you think I'm not aware of the ways in which free speech is curbed at the behest of a foreign entity? I'm Canadian. This is an overview from the outside. You can have a conversation without getting upset. Oh, God, Canadian hogs. Jesus Christ.
American investors and controlled by a board of directors with extensive national security and cybersecurity credentials. In partnership with the U.S. government, Oracle will serve as TikTok's trusted security provider, and they will independently monitor the safety and data security of all U.S. user data on TikTok's platform. Americans' data will be stored securely in the United States without access from China. All U.S. user data will be stored on servers operated by Oracle in the United States, protected from surveillance or interference by foreign adversaries. And the algorithm, I know this is a question many of you have had, will be secured, retrained, and operated in the United States.
Thank God. I was so worried that people were learning the truth about what Israel's up to. Thank God. Thank God it's going to be retrained now, guys. Secured and retrained.
Outside of ByteDance's control. And TikTok will remain globally interoperable, meaning TikTok users in the U.S. will be able to see videos posted by users in other countries and vice versa. While I don't have a number on the specific deal, we do expect that thanks to the president's leadership and the securement of this historic deal, businesses using TikTok will generate as much as $178 billion in economic activity within the U.S.
It's too late. Everyone knows what Israel did. Yes, but you can just farm treats. You can just like float treats in front of many Americans and they'll just like forget about it instantly. We are so conditioned to be servile, you know? Who knows? On Israel and fascism in the U.S., short thread from Yoav Litvin. I'm seeing more and more calls to purge so-called Zionist infiltration from the U.S. for the good of America, framed as a rare point of agreement between the left and right. In this narrative, Israel becomes the parasite that weakens and humiliates the nation, while its removal is cast as the key to America's rebirth. This is not new. It follows a well-worn fascist script. Identify an internal and external enemy, blame for the decline, then promise redemption through purification and return to imagined past greatness. Historically, fascism has coalesced precisely in this way, starting as a rebellion against compromises of mainstream conservatism, then sharpening its identity through scapegoating and promises of renewal. This is something that I bring up all the time. Okay, a lot of people that are hopped up on American exceptionalism, a lot of people on the right, they must believe, and liberals as well, by the way, they must believe in their minds that our politicians wouldn't do this. Okay, our politicians would not do this. It must be because of Jewish control that they're doing this. That is copium from them. Okay. They don't want to recognize the dynamic. They don't want to recognize that America totally allows Israel to do this shit because American politicians have historically valued this allegiance. Israel could not do a fraction of the violence that it engages in without full-blown American support. Okay? That's not the entirety of the story, but it's a very consequential part of it. Okay? So these guys personally think that, oh, as long as we like cut out Israel from the equation, our politicians will be great again. Our politicians will be honest and they'll go along with our interests. They won't, okay? They will not. They only care about capital. They only care about advancing the interests of corporations and the super wealthy. That's it. Israel's a part of that equation for them. So this kind of attitude is incredibly stupid, and it's not going to yield the results that you think, which is why I always warn against like fascists who present themselves as like anti-war, or fascists who present themselves as anti-Israel and anti-Semitic. Promises of renewal. In interwar Europe, Jews were cast as a corrosive force undermining the nation. Now, ironically or not, Israel/Zionism is taking on that same symbolic role, repositioned as an obstacle to America's strength and pride. So when you hear voices on both the left and right converging around the idea that ridding America of Israel's influence will restore national greatness, recognize it for what it is the old fascist pattern dressed up in a new geopolitical clothes. Though this framing resonates with those outraged by the U.S. Zionist genocide and plunder of the global South, it ultimately feeds the very narrative it claims to oppose by weakening and selling out true resistance to it, driving us deeper into a fascist rabbit hole. Liberation, reconciliation, and an end to Israel's genocidal violence can only be achieved within a steadfast and unwavering anti-Zionist framework that aligns with wider leftist, anti-racist, and anti-colonial values. 100%. I know this may come as a shock to few people, but Marjorie Taylor Greene and Candace Owens will not usher in freedom for Palestinians or an end to white supremacy, quite the contrary. And whatever disillusionment Charlie Kirk was supposedly undergoing, he has zero relevance and is not worth 1 second of your effort and time. The left doesn't cast it as restoration. I agree. But the more they lean into like fascists and say, well, these guys have a lot of institutional motion, the more they think that these guys are aligned with our interests, the more they drop the ball, because those guys' interest is to create an alternative reality in which American politicians are not actually totally fucking attached to Israel for their own personal ambitions and don't actually like what Israel is doing, and they want to put an end to it, but they simply can't because of either Jewish mind control or Jewish blackmail or any number of different fucking things that they present as the reason. The real reason is because America wants it, okay? It's that simple. The real reason is the American government wants it. And this is a hard pill to swallow for many fucking liberals, as well as, of course, the entirety of the right. Okay? That's it. Now, on the other side, is there a sophisticated influence peddling operation that has existed within American boundaries for many, many years, whether it be advocacy groups, whether it be education, for example, and like institutes of higher learning, things of that nature? Absolutely. This has also created this like organic understanding because the interests align so perfectly. This is the reason why you have the likes of Joe Biden, for example, who, not as a consequence of any sort of moneyed interest, as a fucking Catholic American, has said time and time again that if Israel did not exist in the region, we would invent it. Joe Biden's Zionism, his ultra-Zionism, is a perfect demonstration of this, okay? He believes it. He 100% is committed to it, okay? He's committed to it because of imperial conquest and how formative a role Israel plays in imperial conquest. He's committed to it because he also personally believes the philo-Semitic undertones himself personally, okay? The notion that, like, Jews are magic money people, and it's good to have them as allies. Like, these are the types of shit that dumb fuck Americans do actually fucking believe, okay? Yet another marker for many of our politicians to be unconditionally in support of Israel.